Many thanks for staying with us. Earlier on, we brought you a story about the attempted coup d'etat that happened in Sierra Leone, but then we were made to understand that the military architecture in the country has been able to quell that particular attack. And to talk more and give it a bit of more perspective and an understanding on what happened in the country, I'm being joined by Charles Rogers, who is a member of the Sierra Leone APC party and a member of the National Advisory Council. Charles, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So this is how I want to start. This is not the first time a coup attempt would be carried out this year in Sierra Leone. It was reported on August 1 this year that Sierra Leone police arrested senior military officers over a coup scare. So why are we seeing a rise in attempts to topple government in the country?
I want to answer that question very trickily because I'm not certain if this one is a coup yet. They say maybe attempted coup. So maybe it's just that one, maybe the government announced. The government has not made any announcement. And you can't say it was a coup. Maybe it's just a security disturbance. Yes, but if it's a coup, maybe it's just twice now. Is that too many? But for me, I think we probably need to study our security situation properly. It should be a collective system, and it should be in response to our settlements, response to activities, maybe also other issues relating to good governance. Yes, I mean, if the country's normally being governed well, things are going on. Quite recently, the APC was boycotting Parliament. It's only recently that that has been resolved, and we are in a good talks with the government. A tripartite arrangement is on. So for us, the APC, we are on the right course, and we know that talk will lead to probably some reforms in our electoral system and many, many more, according to the theory that will be drawn. So let's watch this properly. I have not been able to go out. All I know about this is tweets and messages sent out by Umaru Fofana, the BBC stringer, and a few other social media sources. And in my own locality, it's fairly quiet, so I'm still wondering whether it's actually a coup or just a security scare. But I think we need to give it a little bit more time. By tomorrow, probably we'll know a lot more. But you see, once there's good governance, I think things will flow fine and everybody will be satisfied, which is what we are pursuing in the tripartite agreement we have with the government. That was sponsored, by the ECOWAS, the Commonwealth, and the AU. So there are other ways of going about the descent, not necessarily by coup. We are surprised. We woke up this morning with gunfires around somewhere around us. But my area is quite quiet, to tell you the truth.
Well, Charles, there is an official statement from the president, Bill, saying that the military arsenal base that is an armory at Wilberforce Barracks was allegedly, he said it was breached and looted. It was attacked, let's put it that way. Of course, and some unidentified individuals attacked the military armory. So that in itself is a threat. And I'm asking you, how strategic was this particular attack on the military base to what is being alleged in terms of the attempt to overthrow the government of Julius Maada Bio's government?
I would almost describe it as miraculous, because how did they know the location, the timing, and everything to pull out these strings? It means it's maybe the set of people who are in charge of all of these things working together. But it was miraculous. How could they get to the ammunition dump? That was the news that was out this morning. So that's why you will not just call it a coup. Maybe how would they arrange it? How can we call it? It's an arrangement with the military people. But sincerely, if it's a coup, then it's a big surprise to the whole country. Security appears to be very tight in Freetown. I mean, there are checkpoints every night, and you don't go through them. I'm beginning to wonder. It means, it could be the same people who are guarding the security system trying to pull out the fast one.
So are you also aware, Charles, that there was an attack on a prisons facility in Sierra Leone, Centrum Padema Road Prison in the capital city? Because we heard that also happened.
Yes, yes. If we believe and trust social media pictures we have all been seeing, yes, it was breached. And I think almost every prisoner who could walk while they walked out of that prison, yes, they are all out. I think so. Scattered around the country, which could also have potential repercussions on the nations, particularly regarding our security and safety, even our social cohesion. So these are the reasons why people are put in prison. So you can't say that was a good move, but these are the elements of social disruptions when people make coup. You want to get the people to be disorganized, maybe frightening about your moves, etc., etc. I'm sure it was one of it. It was not a good move, I think. Everybody in the Padema Road prison, I want to assure you, according to social media, has moved out of it.
So earlier on, we also heard that there were gunshots. There were, of course, crossfires between the Liberian security forces and these unidentified elements. You said in your own area that there's relative peace. I'd like to find out what the situation is generally in Sierra Leone, because, of course, you are in Sierra Leone. So if you're to look at it as a country, would you say there's relative peace and calm has returned to the country?
You want to accord me a specialist position, but Australia is generally a peaceful, loving country. I mean, these things happen, but the best sign for very sound insecurity is when people start moving away. Nobody's moving, nobody's running away. I think the threat to our settlement problem is related to economic issues, but not really total insecurity. These things happen only once in a while. So relatively, Sierra Leone is very, very, very peaceful.
Before I let you go, Charles, we understand that, of course, President Julius Maada Bio won a re-election, but that was strongly disputed by opposition. Do you think there's a connect between the past election and these attempts to destabilize the peace and the political system in the country? There are some people who may have reservations and are angry about the administration of Bio that are looking for ways to cause chaos and topple his government.
I wouldn't dismiss that because you can't speak for everybody. But if I can speak for my party, which every aspect of it is on record, went through a dialogue, as I said, and that dialogue brought about certain action points, and one of them, which is the institution of a tripartite agreement to work on more details about the issues relating to the past elections, which the APC accepted and is pursuing now. It's been launched by the president. Maybe individual differences are there, but as a party, that is not our line. Our line is clear. We are going with the tripartite agreement, except otherwise. But led by the president, we are in pursuit of that. And we hope it will bring about the necessary changes that we are seeking for. The only way we know how to work is using constitutional means, and that's what we want to pursue.
Finally, Charles, this seems to be the 8th time that we're experiencing, military coups in Africa. Is there something that the democratic institutions in Africa are doing that they ought to stop that is actually fueling or bringing about a rise in incursions by the military arm of government in Africa?
I cannot agree with you more. Certainly, you have analyzed it very, very well. And maybe the only thing we can add to it is a little bit of dress up to make it more complete. But basically, that is the issue. But you see, we think we should be expanding from the way we are talking now, the roles of our political supervisory or unions that we are attached to, the AU and the ECOWAS. Maybe, so that there can be some more supervision in the political atmosphere generally. Because most of our political system has the winner takes it all, which is the source of this particular bone of contention, which is not happening in one country, but almost all of the countries in Africa, and generally even in the world. If we can establish a proper modus of operandi that will be minimum standards in all our systems, our elections, our policies, and our laws, in agreement with the supervisory bodies, it will probably yield more good than it is currently. But I see a lot of neglect from our supervisory bodies because they are so cautious and so respectful to each other that they don't go far enough to stipulate certain basic expectations. I would just call it criteria for participating in.
All right, Charles Rogers, thank you so much. It was nice talking to you.
You're welcome.